This is the 5 Count. I'm John Edwards, along with my man, Big George, and we're back from a summer break, and we're back with a vengeance because football is just around the corner. Christmas is almost here, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a wonderful night tonight. We have a very special guest from a great sports city. Some of my favorite athletes come from this city. Of course, Mario Lemieux, the second greatest hockey player of all time. Sidney Crosby, the fourth greatest hockey player of all time. The legendary Roberto Clemente, and of course, being a pro wrestling guy, the living legend himself, Bruno Sammartino. He is representing the Kurt Angle as well, of course. Yes, Kurt Angle, another great one. When I think of Pittsburgh, I think of Bruno. But nonetheless, ladies 100%. And gentlemen, represent the Burgh Cave podcast. It's Eric Dudek with us. Eric, welcome to 5 Count.
Man, appreciate you guys having me again, man. Listen, it's anytime you guys say you want to jump on with you two, I'm jumping all in, man. You guys are great boys. Let's talk some ball.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get going now. I told everyone I'm gonna start off with a rant, George. I gotta start this because this is annoying. We're a Chiefs fan podcast here, and I think Chiefs Kingdom as a whole is very protective over Patrick Mahomes and his legacy. And when it gets we feel it gets diminished, we have a problem with it. And at least recently, Bill Barnwell of ESPN said the best quarterback of the 2020s is Josh Allen. And I'd like to know by which metric is he putting this? Is it AFC Championship?
By the way, he did that.
Yeah, is it by the way. So AFC Championship games? Yeah, he appeared in 2 and he lost to Mahomes. Is it Super Bowls? No. Super Bowl MVPs? No. MVP, they both got 1. I'm just like, how can you reasonably, as a reasonable football fan, like just taking the Chiefs fan out of it, like you beat the guy in the playoffs 4 times. There's no way. And it's just like, to me, it's another shot that it's like, I don't think people understand how great he is. Like, the only guys I like to say he's competing with ghosts, like Montana, Brady, Manning. He's those guys. That's who he's competing with. And I'm just like, it's so disrespectful to him. Like, I mean, so that's my rant. It's, I hear it all. I'm not saying Josh Allen isn't a good quarterback. I'm not saying that at all. But he hasn't, to me, reached the level that Mahomes has reached multiple times. And to me, that's the measure of a quarterback. Tom Brady's not the best quarterback because he had the best arm. Tom Brady's the best quarterback because he won the most. And that's what the measure of quarterbacks are, for the most part. Obviously, in Pittsburgh, Terry Bradshaw won a lot, but we do understand that Terry Bradshaw had maybe the greatest defense that's ever played the game of football. Possibly. So we understand that, but there's a difference between a guy like Mahomes who has in 3 Super Bowls, I think 3 fourth-quarter comebacks. It's just to me, it's just disrespectful. So we're off and running with people saying stupid shit on national television. So, George,
if I want to piggyback on that, I just feel like this. I'm not going to take away from Josh Allen and what he's actually done. He's actually the one thing we talked about.
He's really good.
The comparison to me in my mind for Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes will always be Brady and Manning. Manning always had all the preseason, the season stats. It was always the thing. Manning was always that great in-season quarterback that you can hang your hat on. 18 is going to do this. Well, you can hang your hat on Josh going to make the play to go ahead and be able to, make the best decision at that time for the team. It's always in between those 18 games. But when those 18 games are over, that's when the real Josh Allen shows up. Because when you can't make mistakes, that's when he makes the most. When you can't make mistakes and kind of put your team in bad situations, that's when you can't do that shit. And the thing is, Josh Allen is known for making the bad decision. Now, the thing is, what we're highlighting is the thing that everybody is not highlighting in this sense. I feel like, Josh Allen does a lot of good things, but y'all got to remember, he has to bail himself out half the fucking time. So it's not like you sitting up here, getting somebody who started the game off really well. There was a game against Baltimore he had like a year ago. I remember because I put a parlay on it. It was the wildest parlay I've ever put out there. You know why? I had Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, and James Cook all for a touchdown. And they all had one. And the one thing about that is Josh Allen hadn't scored in the first half. Not like that. It was a wild 45, 40, 42 game. And I'm thinking to myself, everybody's going to look at this as like, oh, Josh Allen put on one of the greatest performances that you could ever see. I saw him have to play back into a fucking game because if they would have kept letting Derrick Henry run the ball, he wouldn't have had a shot.
Yeah.
Giving him an opportunity. I feel like a lot of teams end up giving Josh Allen a lot of opportunities, and he can capitalize on some, but the thing is, when it counts the most, he doesn't capitalize on them. And so saying he's the best quarterback
of the 2020s
is insane to me when he hasn't even been to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The thing is, and the thing about Josh Allen for me is what y'all like to go ahead and dismiss. He's been in the fucking league for 9 years. Everybody's done it on his watch. If you want to talk about the Michael Jordan and LeBron thing, how everybody says, oh, everybody's won on LeBron's watch and Jordan wouldn't have never let that happen. Patrick wouldn't let this shit happen. That's why Josh Allen don't fucking exist. Pat's not letting it happen. Like in a lot of ways, you kind of have to look at the objective thing. Like, yeah, Pat's good, and there's other great quarterbacks, but I feel like saying Josh Allen is the best one when there's a exact playing style that he has that everybody else is better at. Like you can't say he's the best runner of the football because Lamar Jackson exists. Mm-hmm. You can't say he's the best decision maker because Patrick Mahomes exists. Yeah. You can say he has the best arm because Aaron Rodgers is getting old and he can sling that thing. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. He can still sling the pill. He's still a very big, strong quarterback. He cannot be taken down off of just one tackle, which is all great. But these are all things we said about Ben Roethlisberger, too.
Yeah, but he won 2 Super Bowls.
And he had Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. We're not going to
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
It won 0 with those guys.
But he didn't win anything with those guys. But at the same time, and he had a team at that point too. Like the thing is, he doesn't, in my mind, Josh Allen doesn't necessarily make his players significantly better.
Josh Allen is I call him Phil Rivers Jr. Not the same quarterback, but to me, the same level of like. People give Phillip Rivers a lot of credit, and he did have some good seasons, but he didn't accomplish really anything. So, Eric, sorry we started off on this big Chiefs rant.
It was a tangent.
But it was a tangent. As an outsider, how do you? I mean, aside from all the bullshit that people just do to stay clear, what is your impression of our quarterback?
Well, first off, I mean, as far as saying Josh Allen's the best, I need to know. First of all, I agree with you guys. He's not the best. I mean, I get that. I want to know what this guy's criteria was. Because you guys already mentioned it. Is he the better physical quarterback than Mahomes? You could argue that. But is he the better overall quarterback than Mahomes? No. Mahomes has the clutch gene. He's got the off-script ability. I mean, honestly, the off-script ability playing out of structure is the same, I think, with both quarterbacks. Josh Allen will be the more of the highlight reel than Mahomes will, although Mahomes does obviously a lot of great things physically. But what I mean by that is Mahomes isn't the runner that Allen is. He's not even though he can throw from weird, quirky positions, talking about Mahomes, he doesn't do like jump throws and things like that, things that Josh Allen can do. Josh Allen has the size of that nature. So I want to see from a context of that, whoever said that, what is he judging on? Because that would – maybe it explains it, but there's no way. I mean, quarterbacks are judged on championships. Head-to-head matters, right? I mean, Josh Allen you can't blame him for that loss when you guys got it in 13 seconds, tie the game, and Josh Allen played one of the best playoff games I've ever seen and lost, right? But there is no doubt in anybody who has any football sense knows that Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback. I just need to know what that criteria is. But from an outsider, man, listen, I don't think in the regular season, I think Big J, I think you mentioned this, and I can't remember. I don't think the Steelers have ever beat Mahomes. I know we used to beat up on the Chiefs for a while there. And a lot of that was with Bell and Brown and Bennett and all that, right? But once Mahomes got there, I remember he won in a shootout. I think it was his first year starting, and then from there we haven't obviously in our
second game.
Yeah, and the Steelers kind of took a little dip, for a while there too. So obviously Kansas City was miles better than the Steelers there for a good bit. But listen, it's like the people who hate Michael Jordan. You can hate Michael Jordan, but you have to respect him. Yeah, you can hate Patrick Mahomes as a division rival or just somebody who's just sick of him winning all the time, but you have to respect him. But you have to respect him if you're a football dude. So I enjoy watching him at times, just not when he's playing against us. But he does amazing things. And as a football purist, I like watching Patrick Mahomes just like I liked watching Brady. I hated Brady. Well, I hate Manning. I didn't mind, but I like watching guys who are great at their crafts, and Patrick Mahomes is one.
I don't mind good football. What I do mind is terrible critiques. Because at the end of the day, I watch football, I play football. The thing about football is the one thing about playing football a lot of people don't understand is how people explain football. If I say the game slows down, you don't really know what that means until you're inside of a helmet and honestly seeing the game kind of move a little bit slower at times and know where you can have been better. Yeah. Like it's literally like a trap of the moment. And it's almost inexplainable. It's almost like an out-of-body experience. When the game slows down, you kind of just – it's like a video game. The whole thing just slows down in slow motion. You can see everything. You can see how the game goes. That's what makes Patrick Mahomes so good. That's what makes like DK Metcalf really good at, being open downfield when he's running routes. Like it's like the game slows down for those people who are good in those moments. So I don't disrespect bad football. I just kind of know that you're not going to tell me bad football is what we're going to get, and you're going to tell me that that's good football. Yeah. No. I've been there before. I've seen this before. Gotcha. So the whole thing about Josh Allen is a take, but at the end of the day, we're not going to sit up here and hang our hats on that because at the end of the day, this season has to be played too. So everything that's being said about Josh Allen can come true in some way, form, or fashion this year. I'm not saying that it won't, but I haven't seen it yet. And at the end of the day, I've seen him be good, but I've not seen him be good in the moments that actually matter. So until he does it then, we can have this conversation all day.
We'll see. But right now, it's like we're looking ahead. And Eric, you're here. You're talking. You're Pittsburgh, obviously, a great organization. Like just 3 coaches in a million years, and this year you got a new coach. I think you guys got a good chance to win the North. I think that division is up for grabs, and anybody but the Bengals. I just don't anyone but the Bengals. So, Eric, tell me about what you're thinking of the Steelers. What you like, what you're concerned about.
Sure, and by the way, if anybody's watching too, I was on with my boy, Mr. Wonderful, last night. We broke down some of the game from the Green Bay Packers, which I was in attendance for. And it's just good to be in a stadium again and watching live football. So for this year, I used one word last night on our podcast and just said encouraged. And that's all I can say. Because you can't get too high, can't get too low or anything. So obviously the high is the 2 young quarterbacks in Will Howard, who saw his first action and looked really good. And he also left some plays on the field, which is expected. And then we're watching this game, and then when Drew Aller entered, and I don't know if you guys watched him against when he was at Penn State. That wasn't Drew Aller at Penn State. Mike McCarthy has already worked his magic from a footwork perspective, and you can tell his footwork's slow.
He's going to be some work in progress that I really enjoy that y'all going to have.
Yeah, so if you look, his footwork is slow, but you could tell he's just getting that muscle memory out of him, right? But I'm sitting there actually with my daughters, and my wife and 2 daughters, we went to that game. And my youngest daughter's sitting there, and she doesn't know a lot about the game, but she asks a lot of questions, which is really cool. And when he came in and he threw the out to Hurlman, this was his second drive because he was literally – we were in the open end and going out. So we were sitting, and she goes, is that the guy – that's the guy from Penn State. I said, yeah. And we're sitting there, and he threw that out, and you're watching – and we just got done watching Will Howard, and I was looking at him. The only thing that popped in my head was just different. He's different than Will Howard. And it has to do with that arm. If you can get the mechanics down, there is a possibility that he's the next franchise guy. I also liked, from the offensive perspective, Weechin from Iowa. He's more than a kick returner, right? He's going to be a pretty darn good receiver, at least seemingly. And then lastly, to keep it at a high level, or else I could rant like you guys for a while, I really love what I saw this defense in Patrick Graham's schemes. There was guys all over listen, you know the biggest play on offense for the Packers was our personal fouls?
Yeah. They
were just like 4 yards, 3. I think they hit 1 19-yard crosser on the first drive. Love hit Reed, who was matched up on a fourth-string guy. Yeah, it's Slaughter. He was kind of like a tweener, right? So, and Green Bay is going to be a very, very good offense. So I loved what I saw. There was the position flexibility. Keanu Benton finally is at the 3 and the 5 technique. He's playing at both. Getting him out of that nose to let this man flourish. He is like a mini Chris Jones. He's not as good, but he's a mini version of him because he's quick. He can penetrate, and a guy is going to be good when he's playing in that outside, in that 3 and a 5 technique. And I'll give you guys one of this, and you guys will love this. There was a 6th-round pick we had, 6'5", 320-pound Gabe Rubio from Notre Dame. We did the post-draft analysis, and this dude didn't even have his picture on the Draft Buzz. Nobody knew who the hell this guy was. But you know what he is? He's a run stuffer. He is a defensive specialist like a wide receiver 4 is, or a running back 3 who's a third down back as a specialist. He's just a specialist on the defensive line. He's not going to sack the quarterback. He's not going to run down screen because he's too big. But this guy can crash the line of scrimmage, and he played very, very well. So
you're going to plug holes.
I'm encouraged. So summarize it, guys. I'm encouraged by the Steelers. So we'll see what they do Friday night against the Jets. Word is that Rodgers and Rudolph are not going to play. They're just going to let the 2 guys go at it, which tells me there's a chance that Rudolph could be the odd man out, and they're going to go with Aaron and 2 kids.
That sounds like it.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not saying Mason Rudolph is bad. I just would like to go ahead and see something different behind Aaron if I want to go ahead and have something different.
And hopefully those 2 can eventually maybe learn something from him. If he's not standoffish, if he can.
Bro, listen, Mason Rudolph is an ideal backup. He's going to be in this league for a while, but he's a Jag. He's just the guy. Just the guy. He's 9-9-1 as a starter, 64% completion, 30 TDs, 22 picks. Ideally, he's what you want in a backup quarterback. And if you recall, Detroit, keep an eye on this. Detroit and Washington, both backup quarterbacks, either retired or got hurt and are out for the year. Keep an eye on those, maybe making a trade for someone like Mason Rudolph. Or, I think he'll get the trade value. Will Howard won't. And they're not going to trade, obviously, Alex. They just drafted him. So,
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think the one thing about your team is that it's always very good to see promising players actually play well. Mm-hmm. It's always even better to kind of see players that you haven't seen perform. Yeah. And I think the one thing about going to the preseason games and watching some of the preseason material is that you can kind of see the players who have a lot more potential to do a lot more in the schemes and systems that you have. And I think the one thing about this is with y'all's new coaching staff and the defensive changes, I feel like, we could definitely get back to the old steel curtain if it's well enough to have. Y'all got to have a D-line, though. That's what y'all hang y'all's kind of hat on in a sense. Like all the years of the great steel curtain has had great defensive linemen. So y'all are getting back to that. And, that's always something special to look at.
Yeah.
Having good D-linemen is always a good thing. I think Kansas City knows a couple things about that,
Absolutely.
We do, and and we'll get into that. I guess. The Chiefs. We had a exhibition game. Not a lot. A couple things stood out. Emmett Johnson, George, stood out. Had like 5 yards of carry. Had over 65 yards.
Mm-hmm.
He was really good. Yeah, he was really good.
The one they won't talk about and tell you about is our Mason Thomas. That boy
he's
a monster. And I'm going to tell you right now, he doesn't fit the normal Spag scheme, so I guess you won't just get that idea of what he's supposed to be. But the thing is, he's a great defensive lineman. He can reach off the edge. He can actually collapse down and stop the run.
Fast.
He's really, really quick and strong. And the one thing about him is that when you kind of put him on the edge and have a Chris Jones or Peter Woods in the middle, you definitely have some problems there because at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to catch him off the edge every time. He's going to beat you at least once. And the thing is, if he beats you once, he's going to beat you twice. So don't let him beat you.
That was one of the goals, I think, is to diversify the defensive line in that we needed, we had a lot of the same players. So we had kind of that speed rusher. The guy I'm really high on, everybody else is high on, is Cyrus Allen at wide receiver from Cincinnati. He's really impressing people with his route running. He went up and he made a couple great catches in the game. One where he had to climb the ladder. There was a catch from camp where he had a one-handed catch. He's one of those. And George, we talked about today his speed. He runs a 4.47 40, so it's not on paper, but he's got that breakaway speed. that
Yes,
he's
really quick out of his
City
breaks.
receiver. That's a Andy Reid type receiver, right?
Absolutely, up and down.
Yeah.
The one thing is, I feel like you get receivers like this that drop in the draft, and the one thing about the draft is, I feel like 1 through 7 rounds is a bit much for certain positions. But 1 through 7 rounds is necessary for all positions. And I feel like a lot of people kind of sleep on those late round picks because they feel like they might not make the roster, or they may just be a pick to kind of fill in a roster spot. I think that once you kind of get later on in the draft, if you start doing your homework, you start to kind of see exactly what players are actually become. I feel like the only reason he dropped that low in the draft is because he went to Cincinnati. If we're talking honestly, I feel like sometimes it's literally the name of your school is literally the detriment of where you actually get drafted a lot of times. Yep. So him being from Cincinnati, being a 5th round pick, that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that he's that good and nobody knew who he was until the 5th round, or even cared about enough till the 5th round.
They did. The Chiefs have been watching for a while. They saw him in the I think they saw him in the they played the some game in Arrowhead against Nebraska.
Yeah, Nebraska. Yeah,
and 3 of our draft picks played all in the same game, and one was Emmett Johnson and Cyrus Allen played.
You look at all this too. I mean, there's a lot of fans out there that think that every draft pick needs to hit. You know what I mean? It's not realistic.
We get that. People. That's one of the things that you'll notice, like in the Chiefs Kingdom. There's a lot of people who are anti-Brett Veach. A lot of people who are what I call them John Dorsey loyalists, because they believe because John Dorsey was the guy in charge when they drafted certain players, even though Andy Reid himself said it was Brett Veach who found Mahomes. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, nonetheless, in the cap world, he's been able to maintain a certain level of success and is, for me, the best general manager in football. And I'm like, why? He wins. Who cares that he didn't hit on the 5th round wide receiver in 2022. He had one of the best drafts in franchise history. It's just so we get a lot about that. But the guy, I think, George, that I know that there's a couple. Our 1st round picks, Monsieur Delane, he had a little bit of a shoulder thing, but he's back. And of course, Peter Woods, who's been a guy that people that Tyrann Mathieu said has a little bit of Aaron Donald in that quickness and that power and that. So we'll see. That's a lot to put on him, but
that's a lot. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he's not, but that's a lot.
But at one point before the draft, like early 2025, he was projected a number 2 overall pick.
Yeah.
And then everybody at Clemson had a terrible year, and he dropped. And it's like, well, maybe that talent's still in there. Because if you're number 2, you're pretty highly thought of. So.
I mean, it is. You don't forget how to play football just because the program's kind of going in the wrong direction. So what I was also saying too is how every fan base wants every draft pick to succeed.
Yeah.
There's also, and that's also in college too, where, hey, my guy, we watched him play every week. This is a 2nd round talent. He's really a 5th round. But your guys' point, these GMs talk. They know trends. They know the entire draft. And I think the Chiefs knew that this guy would fall maybe to the 4th or 5th round, maybe not as far, maybe even a 3rd at the most. But as they start seeing the draft board, like, you know what, this is a guy that if he's there in the 5th, he's a no-brainer. If we get to the 4th and it looks like a certain way, maybe we go get that guy, right?
Yeah, right.
But what I mean by that is that he fits the system well, and there's going to be guys that drop that just like in college, you get Aaron Donald was a 2-star recruit going to Pitt, but he fit what Pitt wanted to do. Pitt really in the college ranks excels at undersized D linemen. You know what I mean? And they play really well. Listen, I mean, a little known fact. I didn't go to Pitt. I'm just a fan. Little known fact that school that you don't think of having the most success, the 3rd most Hall of Famers in the country, with 11.
Wow.
And it's going to be 12 when Aaron Donald gets in there, right? I mean, might be delayed if he's going back to the Rams, which we also just all take a year off. But they fit a system, right? They fit a system. And then with your guys talking about Cyrus Allen fit a system for Kansas City. And there's just the way things are, as well as Pat Mahomes fits Andy Reid. I think we talked about this last time I was on. Would Mahomes have as much success as he had without Andy Reid? He would have success, but I don't think he has as much success if he's not married with Andy Reid. It's just a perfect mesh.
Yeah,
I think Cyrus Allen is the same thing. He's gonna benefit you guys because he's in a perfect system. Obviously, playing with a perfect quarterback too.
Yeah.
So that's definitely gonna work out. And I feel like when we do take the time to kind of really see it all come together, I think week 1 is definitely going to be exciting to no end. Like I feel like we all are going to burst at the seams when week 1 actually kicks off because we got a Monday night game. So I got to wait. The Broncos.
Ooh,
Monday night game. Yes, sir. I'm going to pop at the seams.
And in KC too. I like that.
Absolutely.
Ooh, let's go.
Go ahead and get that one knocked out early.
Where that bitch John Elway had to whine to the referee. Oh, they're making too much noise. They're making too much noise.
Hey,
that place is gonna be raucous.
Hey man, don't start with your flopping quarterback, bro. I don't want to hear it.
Wow.
Listen,
I'm just playing.
Flopped his way all the way to 3 championships, so we're good.
Don't flounder then.
Flail or not.
But
I'm just busting.
Let's get. No worries. Let's get to I guess a little bit of divisions. Who we think's going to be? What do you guys? We'll start in the NFC North, the AFC North. Pardon me. Where do you think you guys sit?
Baltimore.
Again,
you like Baltimore?
I like Baltimore.
You like Baltimore? I'm picking you guys to win the division. I think Aaron Rodgers may have that one. I think he's a great quarterback, Hall of Fame quarterback, but he's weird. Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
For us, it's going to depend on the offensive line because we technically have 4 new starters because the 2 guys on the right are now playing on the left. That's a new position.
Yeah.
Frazier's a budding All-Pro. He's up there with Creed, Frazier, and there's another gentleman. His name is escaping me. It's a really top 3 centers, right? Then you got. We'll see if Junker gets in there. If not, it's probably Hoffman or Spencer Anderson at right guard. Dylan Cook, who filled in for Broderick Jones last year and played well, he struggled mightily in his first game at right tackle, but he's really just holding a fort down until Max, our first round pick, who's been killing it at camp until he got healthy. He got a little bit of a shoulder stinger, so they're obviously being overly cautious right now. But why I said again, and this is kind of funny, and I'm not saying Baltimore can't win a division. Obviously, it's completely reasonable for them to win a division and for people to think so because they got a good team. Every offseason for the past, I don't know how long, Baltimore's going to the Super Bowl or they're a Super Bowl contender with Buffalo and Kansas City. The Steelers are going to have a losing record. This is the first year they're going to do it. This is it for them. It's been that way for the last 7 years. And guess what's happening this year? Hey, Baltimore's going to win a division. I bet Steelers are going to finish 5-12. So every time you see me on the Twitters, I reply to a lot of people again.
Well, see,
again.
My whole thing, as far as your hierarchy in your division, literally goes like this: Baltimore, y'all, Cincinnati, Cleveland. The reason why I have it that way is because the actual teams are structured. Y'all are fairly young, which I have the most experience at the best position. So he's going to help out a lot with everybody actually growing up in the offense. I'm not worried about that. Y'all's defense is young and it can fly around, which is cool. The only thing about that is, how do y'all play against a downhill, hard-nosed, I'm going to run the ball down your throat type team, which was Baltimore's MO. Now
they play every year.
Hey, you know what? We've won 9 of the past 11.
Exactly. My
Baltimore.
Point. The one thing about that is that every other game in the season, it seems like the shoe's on the other foot here because they can play everybody. They just can't play y'all. It's just like everybody in y'all's division.
Great point.
By the Cleveland Browns one day shocks everybody in y'all's division. At least once a year. It's one team in y'all's division that gets shocked by the Browns and nobody knows why, but the Browns play y'all twice a year. And at the end of the day, every dog has his day in the literal sense. So I'm only saying it because being objective of where we are right now at this very moment, there is no better team than actually Baltimore in your division. I'm not giving Joe Burrow anything because, 1, he has to be able to finish a full season. 2, I don't think the Bengals offensive line is going to actually hold up for them. With the Browns, they have to pull themselves out of mediocrity and try to do something different. Stop giving Deshaun Watson playing time. How about that? How about that? I don't have nothing to get.
Hey, G, they are contractually obligated to play Deshaun Watson.
You know what? I'm saying
send him to the masseuse. Just send him there.
We are not going to sit here and act like Deshaun Watson has played any kind of good football, masseuse or not. Because the last time he had a good football game, he was up 24 to about
28 nothing.
28 nothing against the Chiefs. And that was at almost is
that when he went to Texans?
Quarter. Exactly.
Yeah, we scored.
Okay. And then we
scored 51.
He came back, shut him out 51 points. The one thing about that for me is he's had great games. He's shown flashes. But the thing about showing flashes is at some point the flashlight got to stay on.
Yeah.
You can't just sit up there and be good when everybody else is watching or at one time. That it gives me Josh Allen. Oh, the camera's on tonight. Let me give me the best performance I actually got so Dan Orlovsky can go out here on a Monday and cake for me like I did something that's so fucking great. It's not. I'm sitting up here watching Deshaun Watson in practices. I'm sitting up here watching Deshaun Watson in preseason games. I'm sitting up here watching him throw against Shedeur Sanders in the clips. The ball doesn't come out fast. He doesn't move fast. He only knows the routes because they've been done for 40 fucking years. So it's not hard to throw to a spot. As a quarterback, you have to know how to make your players better. If you're going to throw to a spot, throw to the spot that he needs to be at and not where he was. And I think the one thing about Deshaun Watson is he's slow, he's a lot older, and you're trying to get him to help an offense be better that he hasn't fucking played in not once since you signed him. He's played on that fucking field in Cleveland a total of probably 10 times. So at the end of the day, I'm not saying that he's going to run my offense better than Shedeur Sanders. But the thing about this is him and Shedeur have exactly the same amount of tape in a Browns jersey.
I think Shedeur should be the quarterback. I mean, he's younger. I think he's enthusiastic.
Absolutely.
I think he's got something to prove. I think they did some decent things. He wants to play. I think they did some decent things in the draft. But it's the Browns, right? They've been
they did great things in the draft for Shedeur. They did horrible things in the draft for Deshaun Watson. They got him a fast receiver who's going to be out of his breaks a little bit quicker, so you got to meet him down the field. Maybe you have to run out of the pocket a little bit because your offensive line is particularly new. The one thing about this team that I really feel like they did was they prepared a perfect table for Shedeur Sanders not to eat. They literally gave him they got Judkins in the background. You got a receiver. You went out and got another tight end. And then, of course, like I said, you went out and got some offensive linemen to help you grow a little bit more, have a little bit more time in the pocket. I'm not saying that none of this shit is going to be the best shit in the world to kind of hang your hat on. But for the Browns, you always see them make moves that don't make sense as far as why they're not good after the move. Zadarius Smith and Myles Garrett should have had more of a Hall of Fame-like year. You should have been, we're not going to want to play the Browns defense because they can't score. You can't score over 10 points against them. That's what it should have been. But what it was Zadarius Smith might be hurt this week. Myles Garrett is, getting 4 sacks by himself, chasing the quarterback all the way to the one side of the field. And it's just like, I don't really understand what the coaches are doing in Cleveland. Every time they have a year where it seems to be promising, they find the one guy who's the worst person for the job. He's obviously wearing a janitor suit, and then he comes out, and then of course, like I say, he's just the worst guy in the world.
That's because nobody will take the job. Like Monken was their 5th choice, and I think they did some okay things. I don't think they'll be competitive. I'd pick in Pittsburgh just because of the Aaron Rodgers factor. I think Aaron Rodgers has a little bit more magic back into him. I think they got a good team. They got a good defense. Knock wood. TJ stays healthy.
Yep.
I think they could do it. And I just,
So here's my just 30-second or 1 minute tops summary of the AFC North. G makes a good point. Baltimore, talent on paper. They're a good football team, and you got Lamar Jackson. The thing with the Baltimore Ravens with the Steelers is they got to always keep pace with Baltimore because the rest of the league stinks at playing Lamar Jackson.
Exactly.
Except for the Steelers and even sometimes the Browns, right? We defensively we can check them. And again, I know they beat the Steelers' doors off in the playoffs that recently time, but other than that, we've won 9 of the last 11, 9 of the last 12, something like that. I mean, and there's been no blowouts, but we beat them. So the Pittsburgh Steelers have the most experienced quarterback back in his system. I think Rodgers was a mismatch with Arthur Smith. And, you got the talent. I mean, DK, Pittman, and Mount Washington, Freiermuth. Now you're going to throw in Jeremy Bernard, and Roman Wilson is having a good camp. You put Weechin in there. You got Rico Dowdle, Jalen Warren. I mean, we've got this is the deepest team I've seen in a while. I think we edge out Baltimore in the wings. I think it's 11-6, 12-5 a year, right? Health withstanding, right? Health withstanding. I can see Baltimore doing that and flipping it as well. I think they'll be as competitive. Cincinnati, by far the best offense, but I watched a little bit of the Detroit game. Burrow's getting smashed by the Lions already in preseason. And Cleveland is Cleveland, and I don't mean that in a derogatory term, but what the difference between Cleveland and Pittsburgh, yeah, we've had no losing seasons, but we haven't had the playoff success, but we're competitive. There's a plan in place. Cleveland's whack-a-mole. They just keep trying new things and nothing's sticking. And then what you have to do then is you have a generational defensive player that you have to trade away instead of building around because you have no plan, because you gave a bad contract to a quarterback that was clearly not worth it. So I think it's Steelers, Ravens, Bengals, Browns. And so, Gene, I think the same thing. We just flipped the top. And, yes, it's part of it's homerish, but I do think that this could be a pretty special year, health withstanding, with the Steelers, because I do think it's a team that's really going to flourish. And I think you're going to see Patrick Graham bring somewhat of a fountain of youth to TJ and others, and even Cam to a point. And Derek Harmon's been having a great practice. So there's a lot more depth on this team, I think, that people realize. So that's why I'm picking the Steelers to win a division.
The thing about the Browns is they're so bad, the only way they could get them to be successful is they had to make a movie. That's it. I mean, that's the only way. I mean,
they made a movie about football and baseball in Cleveland. Because Major League is still one of the best sports movies, but forget baseball. It's one of the best sports movies ever.
Major League is my favorite movie of all time. It's my Deserted Island movie. I know every word of it.
Christmas Vacation and it's great.
Yes, that's it. So but yeah, here we go. So let's move. We'll talk a little bit about the AFC West. Obviously, I'm picking the Chiefs, and not just because they're the Chiefs. I just think that the addition, I think bringing back Eric Bieniemy does a lot for us. We changed up the coaching staff on the offense. We got a really good experienced wide receiver coach that we haven't had. We have the same defensive coaches because Dave Merritt, Joe Cullen, Steve Spagnuolo, they know how to develop players. We have good organizational structure still. I think Pat's coming back, but I think Kenneth Walker and Emmett Johnson and really developing a run game that we've never had. That's why Bieniemy's here. Some really Rashee Rice has talent, got to stay on the field. Xavier Worthy has talent, got to stay on the field. But I think we got some good wide receivers, and I think our defense is going to be rejuvenated. We still had a top 10 defense, had a terrible year, but we've added some real good players to that defense. And I just think that, I put us, I think the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Raiders. You talk about Baltimore. I always say the Los Angeles Chargers, and we are having Taylor on from the Electric Edge podcast coming up soon. And I always joke, they are the multi-time preseason Super Bowl champions. They've been picked more times to make the Super Bowl than the late 80s, early 90s Houston Oilers. That's how bloody long. So, but I think they got a good team. It's just staying healthy. Denver, I think they suffered from what we did the year before. They have a lot of close games. They won a lot of close games, and I think it's going to be – I think the Chiefs are better. I think the Chargers are better. I think they're going to have a tough go. And the Raiders, they might be good eventually, but if anyone can screw that up, it's the Raiders. So, George, that's what I think about the AFC West. What are you thinking?
The AFC West is a toss-up to me. As much as I want to say the Chiefs, I want to be quite objective here. The Chargers are probably the most consistent team right now, seeing that health was their biggest reason last year why they couldn't do things. They lost every tackle that they had that was on the roster that had a T by his name.
Yeah.
So it just seemed like they couldn't have protection majority.
Isn't Slater hurt already? Didn't he get hurt early?
Look, I'm not worried about Chargers business at this time of year. You can talk about that if that's what you want to. The reason why I think Slater is one of those, I think he's not really 100% from his injury last year. In my mind, I feel like Joe Alt is probably going to be coming back, and he's probably going to be the stronger of the two at this point. And just kind of seeing exactly what they kind of build up. That's why I'm so questionable on the Chargers, because if they get protection, I've seen what they were without it. If they can get time behind their belt, then some of their receivers can get open. A lot of the receivers, like Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston has actually grown up a lot over the years, and you can be like that, but at the same time, that man had over 6 touchdowns last year in a system where he wasn't touted to be the number one receiver. That's saying a lot in a system that you don't necessarily are subjected or projected to get the ball, and they're a running team. So at the end of the day, you have to look at how they play their games and how they play the teams that they come out playing. I'm not saying that the Chargers are going to beat us twice a year. No. I'll never say that. If they could be up 44-4 and 2 minutes left on the clock, we got Pat. And at the end of the day, I say that. So, but the thing is, I feel like the Chargers this year have the best roster available to rival the Chiefs in our division.
They always do.
Like
Eric said again, everyone every year is like they're the most talented roster in football every year, and it's the same thing.
Because I think they haven't won the game yet.
No, they'll be tough, but I just don't think. I think with Mahomes coming back,
division, who do you think is the worst? Who's the biggest challenge in our division?
Oh, it's the Chargers. That's why they're second. But I'm not. I'm putting them second. I'm putting them second, not first. Second.
I'm not putting them first. Only reason I say that,
and they'll be a playoff team. They'll definitely be a playoff team if they don't get ravaged with injuries.
I'm not crowning nobody right now, and the reason why I say that is because if you're going to base this off of what we did last year, we don't deserve to be crowned. And I'm not going to lie to you, we don't. We're going to be objective here. I have to be objective. Do I think the Broncos go back-to-back and win the AFC championships twice? Absolutely not. The additional Jalen Waddle was just not enough, baby. I'm not saying that your team doesn't get better because they're actually more gelled and they've been together, but sometimes the same team doesn't actually get better with one more player. It actually might get worse if everybody else around you is getting better. In the sense that this is exactly our case. We've gotten significantly better, and people just don't know how that's going to look. That's what fears. That's what makes everybody scared because they know 15 is walking out of there, and they don't know what he's. And so at the end of the day, when I'm looking at all these other teams that we have to play against, the Broncos are not a team that I fear at all. I will see y'all on a Monday night. The Raiders are going to find a reason to not play the right person. They do it every year. What they do is they're going to drive Ashton Jeanty into the dirt. They're going to make Ashton Jeanty play like he played at Alabama. Yeah. And he did play at Alabama. He played at Boise State. So you're not going to have huge offensive linemen that you need to run behind, but you also have to understand how to get in and out of your breaks. And a lot of times they're not going to run the ball enough to figure it out. Brock Bowers is hurt a little bit with his knee. Yeah. I've seen him still being banged up, which is not good at all for that team. Because if you're talking about a wide receiver one, it's TE1. And that's what they hung their hat on. What I feel like the Raiders are trying to do, they're trying to build the Chiefs now. They're trying to find their Kelsey. They're trying to find their Pat Mahomes. They're trying to find their number one wide receiver is going to be Tyreek Hill. They're trying to build these Chiefs from years ago because they go out and get a lot of speed to wide receivers. They don't get no possession receivers. I've noticed that over the last 4 years. The only possession receiver that they had was Jacoby Jones. He's gone. And not Jacoby Jones, but Jacoby Myers. Yeah. And the thing about Jacoby Myers is that they will force feed him the ball. Like I would watch Raiders games. I was like, why are y'all so bad? And I sat there and watched it. I was just like, oh, y'all do the same thing every play. Y'all force feed the ball to the same three people. And it's the thing is, y'all run 4 routes with them. You have Brock Bowers running over the middle. Then you have Brock Bowers run a stop. Then you have Brock Bowers run a go. And off those 2 routes, you have Jacoby Myers come underneath. Then you'll have one of the speedsters go over the top. I swear it's the same play in reverse every time. And if it's not a run to Jeanty, that's exactly what you're going to get. So that's different.
That's why the Raiders always be the Raiders. Eric, what do you think of the AFC West?
I think it's honestly, I think it's arguably the toughest division of football this year because of the quarterback play outside of Las Vegas. And I got to give my respects to Bo Nix, even though he's got to do it again. But I'm going to give my respects to him as the third quarterback in this division, of course. I'm with you on Denver in a sense because here's the reason. I mean, defense should be back. That defense was lights out, but there was a lot of close games last year.
Yeah,
a la just shit just happened and just happened to bounce their way. Football karma tends to even itself out. And I can see them playing a lot of similar games, but coming up 2 points short instead of 2 points ahead. So they probably, from a record perspective, can kind of fall back unless Bo Nix can raise his game and the offense improves, but that remains to be seen. I agree with G about Waddle's not necessarily enough, although I do like their running back out of UCF. His name is escaping me right now for Denver. So they're going to be in the mix. I think this is the most talented Chargers team that I've seen. And Herbert, if not now, when? He's kind of had a little bit of the Joe Burrow bug with the health and a little bit of the Josh Allen bug from the playoffs, right? You know, I mean, Josh Allen's had a little bit more success in the playoffs than him. To me, the Chiefs, you know, as long as Mahomes is healthy, it's the most complete team, especially with – I was very impressed with Emmett Johnson. You guys really addressed the defense. I think it's going to be a three-horse race. I don't think anybody runs away with it, unfortunately. And
it'll be close. I think it'll be close.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close. But listen, if Mahomes is healthy, I have to give the edge to Kansas City, especially since you guys addressed the defense. But I would not be surprised to see Denver and then the Chargers probably third until the Chargers prove that they can do it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They got the talent. They really addressed the offensive line. Hampton should have a breakout year. You know, I really like what they have at the wide receiver position, but they got to do it. I respect them, but they got to do it, and so I think they would come in third. But I could see them winning. I can see them in second or third, but I got to give the respects to Kansas City to win the division.
So what we're going to do now, George, is our top five for the evening. So our top five this tonight is going to be our top five sleeper teams. So the way it's going to work is Eric's going to start being the guest, then I'll go to you, George, then me, then Eric again, and then we'll argue over the fifth one. Because I was expecting, yeah. So, Eric, hit me with your top. I mean, you can't pick your own team, and I don't think any of our teams would be sleeper teams, but you can't pick your own team. So, top five sleeper teams. Let's give your first.
I can give you all five, or just one at a time.
Just one. No, don't give five. We do a combination of the five. So you just give me one.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Until yesterday, I was going to say the Saints. But Tyson getting hurt and being the bugaboo, because I really like Tyler Shough at quarterback. But I'm still going to say the Saints for right now because they're in a weak division, and I think they could surprise somebody. I don't know what the level is. Everyone's going to have their different criteria for a surprise, but I think the Saints can actually surprise somebody, compete for a wild card this year.
Interesting.
Okay, George.
I think this is always my sleeper team because I want this dude to win so bad. I want Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to come out of the ashes and beat somebody's ass. It's a contract year for Baker, and there's nothing worse than a contract year for Baker Mayfield. That motherfucker is rabid. So he knows his money's running out. His arm is about to be crazy. He's about to start running stupid. He has a better team behind him this year. It's a lot more youthful. Not saying that Mike Evans is a bad pickup, but not having Mike Evans last year was a bummer. Not having Chris Godwin last year was a bummer. And Amuka Ebekwa kind of emerged as the number one receiver while he was, trying to figure out who was going to be what they were needing to be. Then Bucky Irvin came on later on in the year. I'm just saying with that healthy roster, and they
always have a good defense. Always have a good defense.
So they went out and got some defensive pressure. So at the end of the day, I really feel like the Bucs are a really good sleeper team. I really feel like not a lot of people are talking about them because of there's not a whole bunch of superstar power, or it's not a very big eye candy type team. But Tom Brady did go there and win 2 rings, and of course, like I say,
one ring.
One ring. And then, of course, like I say, he came back for another season after that and then, did whatever. Yeah. But it's just the simple fact that team has seen what it takes to be in the spotlight. They've had a quarterback who's willing to take you the distance. The only thing about Baker Mayfield, I feel like a lot of the teams that he's been on have given up on him in the worst times where they didn't give him their best. Baker gave him his best, but, they didn't give him, exactly what he needed. So even though this is a contract year for him and he could be either out the door or seeing a contract with the Bucs, I feel like, knowing where he is as far as his career and how it looks as far as money and him on a longer contract, he's going to play lights out. So I feel like Baker's going to be somebody to really watch for this year.
Baker in the Bucs. I should take him in fantasy, right?
I would take a couple players right now for fantasy. I've been cooking some fantasy lineups. So
there we go.
We'll see.
So my team is, how about them Cowboys? I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to be a sleeper team. I just think for some reason, like, I know, George. Listen, I liked. It could be a sleeper team. It's legit a sleeper team because Dallas has not won anything for almost my entire life, but at the same time, almost your entire life as well. But at the same time, I was born when they were. I was 13 when they were winning. So, but here's why: I liked Brian Schottenheimer as a head coach. I think they did some good. I like their defensive line makeup. Caleb Downs went there. They got two really good receivers. I just think I saw them last year. I'm like, they're not that far away. Dak's experience. Hopefully he can stay healthy. But I just think in that division, and I know everyone's going to pick the Eagles, but I mean, I don't know. I think that they could come not out of nowhere, but I think they got talent. Now it is Dallas, so if anyone besides the Raiders is going to find a way to fuck it up, it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys. But for me, I think Dallas is a sleeper team. So
again,
I know.
Thank you, but you know what? We still in that again. Because I'm like this. I don't see Dallas as a sleeper team. I always feel like they're one of the teams that you can always call for a playoff spot. Because at the end of the day, like you said, they will shoot themselves in the foot. But 9 times out of 10, the NFL has made a way for them to have the gun, shoot themselves in the foot, and still walk in the door. Because for some reason, they go 8-8 and they can still flip a coin. Yeah. I don't understand why. It's always like that.
And John, the reason I say again, and I could see, I mean, I guess it's a definition of sleeper team, right? Because I've seen a lot of people picking Dallas to win. Especially with, because they're getting old guys like Von Miller, and they've, honestly, the kid from Ohio State might end up being defensive rookie of the year.
Oh my God, Caleb Downs.
Yeah,
Caleb Downs.
Yeah, Caleb Downs. Thank you. So and that's why I said, again, they signed, a couple of defensive guys, so they're finally trying to beef up that defense, and I actually were going to pick them to win the division over Philly.
I am.
There's something brewing there with. They had those weird social media posts with Jalen Hurts, and there seemed like Mekhi Lemon. By the way, think the Eagles could win draft day with the Mekhi Lemon, and he's not looking too good right now. And Jeremy Bernard's looking like he's going to be a superstar for us. So there's just something about Philly that I'm not really sold on. So I actually agree with you, John. I think Dallas could be a sleeper team to maybe make some noise, but to G's point. And your point, they're going to find a way to what they do is they shoot themselves in the foot later in the year versus the Raiders to shoot themselves in the foot in week 2.
In the first 5 to 10 games, I don't see them as a sleeper pick. 9 times out of 10, Dallas at that point is really good. They're steamrolling small teams. They're doing what was it, like 2 years ago? They had a game where it was like 40-0 and Dallas won or something like that. And it was just like, these are years we talk about them being a sleeper team, but I think the one thing about them being a sleeper team is it's the Cowboys. It's hard to sleep on a motherfucker with the lights on all the time. Like, they're way too much in the spotlight for me to say they're going to be out of it. The only way I say that they're going to be officially out of it is if I watch them deliberately lose like the first 4 games, and I'll be like, all right.
Or Dak Prescott gets carried off.
Right. That's at that point we're talking about them being a sleeper team.
Although they do have Joe Milton. They do have Joe Milton, which would be interesting to see.
The thing is, hold on. This is why I can't say they're a sleeper team, because if you look at that roster, it's kind of stacked. CD 1, George Pickens 2. You got what's his name at tight end? Ferguson. You got Ferguson at tight end. You got 3 running backs. Because let's face it, they're not gonna do the one running back thing anymore. I think they're trying to switch over to the running back by committee. They got
they are.
Alfred Blue. They got not Alfred Blue, Jaden Blue.
Jaden Blue, But that's also why they only gave Javon Williams, I think, $24 million, right?
Exactly.
He's only making $8 million a year. That's a running back by committee.
Exactly. So you got a running back by committee system. You got 2 star receivers. You got a decent tight end and a quarterback and an offensive line that's heavy. Okay, them motherfuckers can move shit. Trust me, I know. So at the end of the day, the one thing about them is that they always have the same problem, which I still see they haven't fixed. As much as they put on their D-line, their linebackers are still young and trashy. Because not saying that they're bad linebackers, it's just that they're not good enough to go ahead and shoot the gaps when you need them to at times. Because you're going to have Quentin Williams opening holes. You're going to have Von Miller rushing off the edge. Because the one thing about Von Miller is at whatever age he is, he's still fast as fuck off that edge.
Yeah, he's still good.
He still can bend, and which is ironically really good for a guy his age. To have that bend at that age is almost unseen. So it's like, okay, you're going to have some, decent D-line play. But I'm not worried about that. I was always looking at Dallas as y'all have one of the best 7-line, rotations that I've seen in a long time. And they always kind of put those out there. But the thing is, their linebackers suck. And where people always eat them alive is in the middle of the field. That's Dallas's problem. And the thing is, I feel like they don't adjust that enough. And I feel like they try to compensate with other things. Yeah, your pass rush is going to be good. But if you getting 10 yards up the field, if I dump it off to my running back, that motherfucker's gone. So at the end of the day, I'm not doing that with Dallas, but I think I can take them being a sleeper team because even though this roster, I don't see them making enough moves to kind of make enough noise to kind of say that they're going to win as many games as they need to go ahead and make the playoffs right now.
If Dallas comes out and wins the NFC least, I think that everyone would be surprised because most people are picking Philly. So, Eric, we're going to go to you with a sleeper team. One more. Give me another sleeper team.
You know what? I'm going to go backwards on a sleeper team, and I think a team is going to kind of fall backwards a little bit.
Okay, that's fair.
And because I'm going to contradict myself a little bit in a sense because I hate when people say easy schedule because there's really no easy schedule in the NFL. Every team is legit, right? Is the New England Patriots schedule last year was just so that was one of the easiest schedules I have ever seen. Now, could they be a playoff team this year? I would not be surprised the least if they were. But there's something to and another reason I contradict myself because I said that Drake May would be the best quarterback coming out of that draft. But there's just something about the Patriots this year. We're going to see them early in week 2. And I'm looking at AJ Brown and I'm seeing this. I'm seeing him turning that downturn on his career right now because I don't see the separation that he used to get. Okay. Now, we'll see. I'm not saying he sucks. I'm just saying he's not the AJ Brown of Philly and even obviously his last year in Tennessee. I think New England takes a step back closer to that 500. They'll compete for a wild card because the AFC East really only has Buffalo. So we'll see. But I think New England takes a step back. And as far as AJ Brown, I just don't see that happening this year. I don't think he's a top flight receiver anymore.
The one thing I will say, so in AJ Brown's defense, I will say this: chemistry with your quarterback is extremely important with your
100%.
And I feel like the chemistry in Philly was so bad at one point that it made it look like that he's not a good receiver. The one thing about that is that I've known people who become divas in the wide receiver room. And the one thing about that is they will know that they're getting out there and they're going to run a lackadaisical route. They know that they're going to not give it 100% coming out of their breaks just to go ahead and be off the team. And then when they get somewhere else, they look And you're gonna see it. Whatever the first game is from AJ Brown is what he has left. It always happens. It always happens when the new player goes to the next team. Is if he's really, really good, then he has a decent game in spite of him being wherever he was, right?
Yeah.
But then we always get the whole after that initial game. Then we're going to see what A.J. Brown really is. The one thing about A.J. Brown is I don't think the expectation is for him to be a number one receiver. I think that we have this mixed up as far as what the Patriots are actually trying to do. Because if you see what they did last year with Stephon Diggs didn't have very many 75-yard games at all. Right. The one thing about it was just he was consistent in spots where they needed extra yards. Mm-hmm. And the thing about it is A.J. Brown can be that. He can be a dink and dunk receiver if you want him to be. Yeah. My thing was with him in Philly they were trying to make him a deep threat, and he's not a deep threat. He's a route running receiver. And I think the one thing about that is a lot of people who need that, they're paying you number one money. The one thing about a number one receiver is he can do everything. That's what the number one receiver is paid for. I mean, DK is a perfect example. Yes, he's going to run a lot of straight goes because he's the fastest receiver on the field, and he's the biggest motherfucker on the field running that fast. So it's almost like, okay, that's a no-brainer. But to see DK take a slant from 5 yards to the house, or to take a curl and run that 17 yards and get out of bounds and still be safe, things like that. That's what you want A.J. Brown for now. And I don't think you necessarily were doing that in Philly. In Philly, they were bombs away because they had Saquon Barkley and then Devontae Smith on the opposite side. And then, of course, you don't have a tight end really in Philly. There's not a tight end that you're going to say that's going to be
Goddard.
How old is Goddard?
I don't know. I'm just saying he was pretty effective, though.
Yeah, he's good.
He's good, but he's not going to be – look, I put it to you like this. I put 4 tight ends in that hierarchy of tight ends, and Travis Kelce's last on that list now because he's aged. You got Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, and then you have what's his name out of not Harold Fanning, but the dude who just left the Browns. David Njoku. Yes. David Njoku is a great tight end because one, he was the only person who was actually able to get free and catch balls in Cleveland. So he's going to be great in the Chargers jersey. So I just
No, you're right. You're making some of my points for me though with AJ Brown. Though he's not a number one receiver. They're going to ask him to do wide receiver 2 things. So that's what they're doing.
But this is the thing. Yeah, he's better than a wide receiver 2 though, because he's a lot better than what you would actually get at the wide receiver 2 position. I just feel like
I would agree.
In Philly, they didn't have a plan for him, and they had a plan for him to be something that he wasn't, and he didn't agree with that. And of course, like I said, when you don't agree where your career is going, you got to make the change. Yep. I'm not saying Brandon Ayuk was smart about what he did at all, but he got off of a team that he didn't want to play for. Now he's just not playing for nobody. So it's just like
Ayuk made some decisions. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, he made some very dumb decisions.
So George, we got one more pick. I got a team. I got an idea for a sleeper team. I'll throw it out there if they beat number 5, the Tennessee Titans.
You know, get back in the game with that one. You said sleeper teams. Sleeper teams. I mean, they're gonna wake up eventually. Them guys. I'm not saying
they're still snoozing.
They still sleep.
Yeah, but they got some good young guys. They added some players. I just think.
Let me ask you this, John. What do you feel about Cam though?
I think he can be good, and I think that they got a new coach there. They got. I think he'll be good. I think he could be effective. We'll see how Tate is. Obviously, George wasn't a big fan of Tate coming out of the draft. But again, I like their defense, and
he's a 2.
I like their defense, and I just think that they could be a team that. I'm not saying they're going to be like a division winner, but I think they could be closer to 500.
And if y'all are wondering what I said about Carnell Tate, I was on another podcast, and it was a panel. All right. I said, and I quote, Carnell Tate is not going to be a wide receiver 1. He's a wide receiver 2. He's never really been in that wide receiver 1 role, and he's not necessarily going to be the greatest for Tennessee.
Yeah.
They asked me who they said was going to be a bust, and I said Carnell Tate. Everybody on the podcast was like, I don't know. Week 1 in preseason, when I would feel like if you're going to do anything, you should have at least one thing to show me that you're going to be progressively good. Carnell Tate showed me everything that I've seen already at Ohio State.
I see Carnell Tate, and you know who I thought of, and he's dear to both of our teams, is it's Juju, who's a good 2. He's a good 2 that you put it as a 1.
Until
you put it as a 1. It's the Elvin Harper rule, right? The greatest number 2 ever with Dallas. He goes down to Tampa as a number 1, nothing. And I just don't think he has the physical abilities. Would I want Carnell Tate on my team? Absolutely, but not as a feature guy. I don't think he has the athletic ability to be a 1. I really don't.
So George, who do you like as a sleeper team? Give me another one.
Washington.
Okay,
the Commanders have a nice little roster over there.
Yeah,
with Terry McLaurin, Stephon Diggs, and Trey Burks. Trey Burks is their sleeper third receiver, which is a big.
He's got something to prove.
Yeah, he's got something to prove. He was
great at Arkansas.
Another Tennessee wide receiver who's, in Tennessee, they play one way, and they've had Derrick Henry and mostly running backs for most of the time. And I think they were stuck in that way. So, of course, you got a lot of receivers who went there and ended up trying to be this number 1 receiver that never could actually grow. The one thing about a number 1 receiver for me is you have to either be a number 1 receiver right out the draft or you have to grow into one. And I felt like, if you have to grow into one, you should start off as a 1. That's just it. So
Burks was good at Arkansas.
Absolutely. He was really good at Arkansas. He was really he was a monster at Arkansas, actually.
Yeah.
The thing about that is, like, in his situation, he's never had a good quarterback to actually throw in the ball until now. And then the last time you seen him actually be good, he was having Mariota throw him the ball in Washington. So just let that sink in when Jaden Daniels gets back in there, is able to find a bigger target downfield or able to kind of have some options. Because I'm going to say this, if I got Terry McLaurin and Stephon Diggs, Traylon Burks, Zach Ertz, and a running back by committee, and my quarterback can still run, it's kind of dangerous to see what they do. But the thing about them is they need consistency. And so we just got to find out where they're going to be consistent at. But I feel like Washington is one of those teams that's really, really good that can actually do a lot. Hopefully they can have a better go at offensive line because they did just lose Larry Tunsil, but I still feel like they have enough, linemen to rotate out to go ahead and be okay at the position.
Yeah. So our top 5 tonight, we got the Saints, the Bucks, the Cowboys. Eric's got New England to take a tumble. You think the Mike Vrabel stuff will impact that at all? Because that's something.
If I'm gonna tell you this, if there are not questions, I could see it. I could see yes and no. Because here's why I say no. And my quarterback called out ESPN for this garbage. If this was anybody else, if there wasn't an ESPN reporter involved, you've heard nothing about this story. Mm-hmm. Nothing. Yeah, they're going to go pry and probe Aaron Rodgers about his marital status. They're going to go pry and probe all these other players that get into these affairs or there's any other off the field problems, right? Yeah. Mike Vrabel and Rossini does it. By the way, she has influence on certain things in the NFL as a senior reporter. Yeah. John, you've heard nothing. If there are no questions in their locker room, if there are no stories once reporters get access to Mike Vrabel or any of these players, one, what doesn't bother them, or two, there's something. But if they start doing it, and I will tell you this, if the Patriots come out 1-2, let's say after the first 3 weeks, right, some of those questions may start coming up. Because the media is going to want to sell clicks. They're going to want to do this, and they're going to question this. Is Mike Vrabel's head in the game? Things like that. So maybe it does. I'm just looking at it from I see why you asked that, John, but I'm looking at it more from what I talked about the Broncos, right? All those close games, the law or the football, laws of football, if you will, kind of go the other way. When you got that easy of a schedule and you played decent, you didn't blow a lot of guys out. Yeah, you might fall back a little bit. I'm not going to say New England's going to suck, but I think they just fall back to where they're competing for a playoff spot and not, competing for home field advantage.
Oh yeah, they're definitely going to let reality hit.
Yeah, and George, you picked Washington, which I think is a great pick. And Sonny Styles is another guy on that defense.
Yes,
Someone
yes,
to watch.
Sir.
So there's some real good sleeper teams. It's funny you mentioned about the Broncos. Nick Wright said it. We had the same thing in 2024. We played a lot of close games, like the Panthers and just these. And one, like we beat Denver with a blocked field goal. Just the next year, the same thing happened. We didn't win those close games, and we had some injuries, of course. But Denver, Nick Wright said, like Denver only played like 2 really good quarterbacks. And that's something that always I take a look at is what quarterbacks have you played?
Yeah.
Like, like we're going to play Nick's twice and he's okay. And Herbert's good. We always play Allen, even like he's not in our division. We play good quarterbacks. I think that they didn't play a ton of great quarterbacks in Denver. So that's why I'm thinking they might have a bit of a drop off. And the thing like winning close games, like you said, like, last year you won it by 2 points. This year you lose it by 2 points, and instead of being like 14-3, you're like 9-8.
I just want to see LeBron James play for Kansas City, so Nick Wright can just nut on himself.
I love Nick. He's he's a he's just but he. You know what's funny though? In some cases he does make good points. Like he does. Like he's the ultimate homer. There's no question about it. But when he talks about, and has the facts to back it is factual. Like,
there's nothing wrong with being a homer like that too. I literally just don't watch much sports debate shows because they really
neither do I. I just see his clips on like Instagram.
Anytime I see Nick Wright clips, it's always he's arguing with somebody else about LeBron and Michael Jordan and stuff, and that's kind of hilarious. But no, listen, I mean he's part of national media for a reason. He's good at what he does.
Yeah,
so it's like yeah.
But he brought up a good point. So, gentlemen, that is it. We're going to get out of here. Eric, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
One day, George and I talked about how much we do want to visit Pittsburgh. It's always on my city. I just probably the ballpark, the main thing. But I'd love to go. I'd love to watch the Pens, because I'm a big hockey fan, and
sure,
of course, Captain Sidney Crosby's Captain Canada. Just funny. I went to his. Not his hometown, but just Halifax. He's from Cole Harbor, which is right near Halifax, a number of years ago. And they had in Halifax, it's like their downtown's really wild. It's like a steep hill.
Okay.
And then right at the top, they have a citadel, like an old army base, and it's got really steep steps. And we went there because it was like some anniversary, and it was free. And they told us that morning at like 4 a.m. Sidney Crosby was running those stairs. He and Nathan McKinnon.
I was going to say, the same damn. That hill. That's why he's got those tree trunks for quads out there, man. And
Oh yeah, he's a hoss.
Listen, anytime you guys want to, come in, you let us know, man. GB and I will show you around a little bit, man. We'll get some good wings, some good Pittsburgh cuisine, some brews, and then whatever sports stadium you want to go to.
Yeah, well, I might take you up on that. It's only 6 hours for me, and George can get on a plane.
Look, I ain't gonna hold you. You talking about some wings and some beer? I might be on the plane tomorrow.
Big G, I'm gonna tell you something, man. We still have the home of the 3-piece wings that you got to tear apart.
That's what I'm talking about.
And Primanti Brothers. Is it as good as advertised?
Yeah. And you know what's funny? It's like it's the people from Pittsburgh. No, granted, people have different taste buds. I get it, right? But the people that come on, especially true Pittsburghers that come on and shit on Primanti's, they just want to do it for the clicks. It's like the popular thing now is a shit on Marvel movies because they're the popular movies, right? Popular thing in Pittsburgh, Primanti's is overrated, especially on social media. Listen, it's all what it is because the French fries are good, the vinegar-based coleslaw. Like, only thing I take off is the tomatoes because I don't like tomatoes. But other than that, like, you get the Pittsburgher, which is like a steak. It's a steak substitute, right? But if you can also get like an Angus steak with the fries, the slaw, and what you got to do is you take it out. You got to pour some hot sauce on that sumbitch, or even throw a fried egg on there. Bro, it's so good.
I getting hungry already, but it's always been a great sports town, and I know you got that beautiful ballpark, just best ballpark in baseball.
Well, you know what? You'd have to hurry up because they're probably not going to have baseball next year. So
that's true. We get out of here, I wanted to go ahead and allow the shameless plug to happen. Football is a brotherhood. As you see this man's shirt that says this, these will be for sale on the Burgh Cave website.
Yes,
so, of
sir.
course, y'all should get y'all one. Of course, I'm going to get mine in Kansas City red so y'all can know that this part of the brotherhood bleeds red. So, of course, if y'all looking for shirts, y'all looking for good merch, go on the Burgh Cave website and you can kind of see some of the new merchandise that they have. They're actually selling. So, like I say, give my man a shout.
Yeah. But I appreciate that, man. You go to theburghcave.net, and it's a really good website it's a basic website, but it's a good website. People are like, hey, well, what's the Burgh Cave about and stuff, because again, it's like taking that little Google Maps guy, drop him at the corner of the sports bar, the local bar, and a bunch of guys talking sports like we have all night. So I love coming on with you guys. But obviously there's some Pittsburgh themed shirts, but football is a brotherhood and some other ones that are not necessarily tied to Pittsburgh that I think that people just enjoy the game are about. Yeah, there's about 8 different colors of these, and there's some with the white letters and darker colors. I do have the red and the white on there for everybody that are Chiefs fans. You can get that, wear that around Kansas City, support that. And anybody, I would love if you guys get a shirt, take a picture, man, tag me on the Twitters, and we'll see what we could do down the road and stuff. So I appreciate that, Big G. It's appreciate the shout out.
Absolutely. I got to get mine. So you already know when I come on here, and the next time you on here, if I can get it before the season start, you'll know. Plus, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and get some larger sizes, big dog. All right.
Hey, G, it goes up to 5X. Hey, see this is a 2, bro. Hey, listen, I'm 2X, man. I'm 2X thick,
Look, there's a story about me in Kansas City going around that I can't fit in the back of Toyota Corollas. So I'm just saying, it's just. I just everything has something for everybody.
I hate that I've graduated to 2X from XL. This is a receiver all through college and somewhat of a thinner dude, man. I've come down a little bit, but I think in the springtime I hit 250 for the first time in my life, bro. I was like, I'm not even a receiver anymore. I'm like an H-back. You know what I mean? It's like I'm getting bigger and bigger. So I'm just slowing down, but I gotta get down to like 235, and I think I'll be good right there. I'm 6'3", so I was like, just get me to about 235, and I'm good. Listen, you know where it's all at.
Yeah.
I got another one coming out. It's for the dads out there too. I got like a little dumbbells and drafts, body made by dumbbells and drafts type shirt coming out. That's for us.
You know what? I need that because I'm one of them. I take a nice gym session, but everything after the gym is pretty much why I'm going back.
I know how many times I go to the gym and then go straight to, like on Saturdays. I get up. I'm usually at the gym by like 9 o'clock on a Saturday. Next thing you know, especially when football season comes around now. Check this out. I'm at the gym Saturday from like 9 to about like 10:30. I come back home. I wash up. I'm in my basement. I've got wings and brews. I'm like, it just defeat the whole goddamn purpose, but I love it. Love it.
No. Hey, it doesn't defeat the purpose. You have to be able to survive through this shit. I gotta survive.
You gotta eat, man. You gotta eat. You gotta fuel the body. Like
exactly.
Hey, guys. By the time it's like 2 o'clock, I'm just like, you know what? I'm even. I made room and I filled it back up is what I did.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Who said life couldn't be easy and happy?
Yeah. Guys, Eric, thank you so much for joining us. Check out the Burgh Cave. Visit their website. Buy the shirt. Thank you very much. Next week, we'll be back. And I believe we have a special guest with us coming up as well.
Oh, we do. We have a couple of special guests in these next few weeks. Y'all definitely want to tune in. I have OT Sowell coming in, and I also have Taylor from the Electric Edge podcast coming in as well. So, of course, if y'all want to see, and Taylor is a Chargers fan, so she's coming back into enemy territory, and we love Taylor Rock.
Hey, you know what, too? And then Taylor's been on the Burgh Cave as well, too, is with you guys as well. And actually, you know what? And I gave her a shout out to her. She got a little bit of a promotion out there in LA. Saw that little podcast for us. So shout out to Taylor, man. Great job. It's the fruits of your labor, if you will. So keep that shit going out there in LA, man. Congrats.
Yeah, she's outstanding. She's great. I mean, and it's good to have her on because you hear a little banter and with the Chargers, but she definitely knows ball, and it'll be exciting to talk to her again. One
other plug, since you guys are talking about that, I'm going to tell you this on the channel. On the 25th, we're going to have an AFC North complete preview. We're going to get fans from each of the 4 teams. So we're going to preview the Steelers, Bengals, Browns, and Ravens. We're going to preview them, and we're also going to get a little fun shit talking going on because it's the AFC North and what else we're going to do. And it's going to be fun. So it's a Tuesday night on the 25th of August. So check us out at 8:30 on the Burgh Cave's YouTube page. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a good one, man. It's AFC North football, like you guys with the AFC West, excuse me. AFC North is just as brutal, so it'll be a good show.
Yeah,
I would find
fuck the Bengals. Fuck the Bengals. Like, forever and a day. Fuck the Bengals.
I mean, we all agree on that.
Yeah. You want to talk about a team that doesn't that is like thinks they've won 20 championships? That's the fan base. I mean, they still got to walk across this. They got to walk across the street to practice, for God's sake.
See, this is the thing. I feel like everybody has one player on their team that I'd be willing to take off. I think that'd be our next topic the next time you come on. If you could take one player from your division rival, who would you take? And of course, like I say, the end of the day, I would always say I would take one person from each team. If I was taking one person out of y'all's division, I'd take Jamar Chase off the Cincinnati Bengals in a heartbeat.
Yeah, he's great. I'm not saying he's not great, but it's just, you know. Ugh.
He wears that color. Dang. Yeah, he wears that color, so I can't rock with it. But
I would say for me, I can go real quick on that. The Bengals is Jamar Chase, the Ravens is Kyle Hamilton, and then the Browns would be Denzel Ward.
That's easy. If I had to do the AFC West, I'm taking.
By the way, I'm still in that question for the AFC North pod. By the way, that's great. I'm still in that question.
I think the who would I
Brock
take?
Bowers.
Oh yeah,
Brock Bowers.
Okay, I could take Brock Bowers. I would take Nick Benito, and then I would also take switch that Nick Benito and give me PS2. Then we get Patrick Surtain the second.
Yeah, I'd take Surtain.
I'll take from the Chargers.
I take Derwin James.
I don't want Derwin James. Hey, I feel like he draws too much attention for my liking. The one thing about Derwin James is he's a big hitting safety, and I think that's what I don't need. I want you to play coverage. So if I was taking anybody from the Chargers, it'll probably be John Harbaugh because I can't really think of a player I want.
Honestly, Joe Alt. I'd take Joe Alt if we're being honest. I mean, he's probably the guy if healthy. You know, he's left tackle.
I'm not taking him over Josh Simmons at all. You can have that.
Yeah, that's true. He could play right. He could play right tackle. He could play right tackle too.
We can take Slater. Yeah. I'll take Slater.
Yeah. No, I would take Alt and put him at right tackle. But that's George. That's a great question. But we're gonna get out of here. Eric, thank you again. Thanks for everyone for joining us. It's been a great night, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.